As I find my way, I made it to heaven's gates. I never came late. I was always first. Now the birds wanna chirp. What is good, my YouTube people? It's the TopCat podcast coming with another episode live from somewhere in España, somewhere in Spain. And today I'm just gonna be talking about the targets that we try to set up for ourselves and why most people never seem to accomplish them and never seem to reach their full potential. And the problem that I see with most people is that when they desire something, they always seek out the plan, they always seek out the knowledge and the information, but they never start. And that is the one problem that most people have. I also used to have this problem, and I'll tell you exactly how to get away from being the type of person that plans, but never ultimately does anything with the plans and the knowledge that they acquire. So, most people, when they come into a field, they want to come and be an expert straight from the get go. They want to come and be the best straight from the get go. It's actually crazy when you think about it how people have such unrealistic expectations when it comes to pursuing a goal or pursuing a target or a skill because they feel that if they're not like the best person in that field from the beginning, then they're not talented enough or they're not good enough to do whatever they desire to do. And I'm here to tell you that even the best in the field had to start somewhere. Nobody starts off an expert, nobody starts off great at something. The majority of people, I'd say about 98% of people, have to actually learn the skill. And even those that may have some innate talent towards whatever set is, they have to improve as well for them to get to the top. Because at the top, everyone is talented and everyone is skilled, everyone's an assassin. So what sets them apart is now, I wouldn't want to say work ethic, but it's being able to improve on the most important aspects of that task. So, an example would be a footballer. I wouldn't say that the hardest working footballer is going to be the best, but the one who practices on the attributes that make the best overall footballer is most likely to become the best. Because if you spend your whole time as a footballer, let's say you're practicing how to hit the ball, if you spend the majority of your time practicing how to hit the ball, you're going to become great at aerial battles on the field. But now that the majority of the game is played with your feet, what happens to your feet? What happens to your foot kicking the ball? You're not going to be as good as the majority of people because most people spend their time working on that certain attribute, on their dribbling, on their shooting, on their passing. So you might be the best at heading the ball into the goal or heading it out for a clearance. But now when it comes to your feet, you're not going to be the best and you're going to be second to par. And that's going to affect you and affect your performance and the way that you're perceived in the market in terms of your value. Even though you are a hard-working person and you do work well, but at the same time you work on the wrong things. So hard work is not always the best work. Sometimes it's best to combine hard and smart work. Be clever with the things that you choose to learn in the fields that you choose to pursue. So that's one of the main problems that most people face is that they expect to come in and be an expert. So as soon as they see that they're not good enough, they feel inadequate and they give up and they quit. And another thing is a lot of people feel like when they are starting something, they feel like they're being watched or they're being judged by people for their performance, which yes, you are, but people also understand that in the beginning, you're not going to be the best. It takes time for you to get better at whatever you're doing. You have to take baby steps. So, majority of people, I see this like with the gym, that when they get to the gym, they're feeling shy and they're feeling a bit embarrassed because they can't lift the weights or they're lifting like a 5 kg dumbbell. And they feel embarrassed and they feel ashamed, but there's no need to feel ashamed because you're literally just starting and you could potentially, if you stick with it, catch up to the people that you feel are judging you, or that you feel ashamed to lift the weight in front of. Because at the end of the day, they started wherever you started. They started at the same point. Everyone starts similarly at the same point when it comes to most things in life. Because we are human beings, our abilities are unlimited and limited at the same time. They become unlimited as time goes on, but in the beginning, our abilities are all limited, and most of us start at the same place as everyone else, unless you have done something else that's related to that skill and you can transfer that into the new skill that you're trying to develop. But if you haven't had a dip in the water in any single shape, way, or form, then essentially you're literally starting at a base level that everyone else is going to be starting at. So as I told you, you see people being ashamed, whether it's going to the gym, it could be you starting your YouTube channel. You're going to fear the judgment of your friends and your family and the people around you, and that's going to stop you from ever starting. But you not understanding that even though you might be shit in the beginning, eventually, over time, with persistence and consistency, you are going to get better, and your delivery in terms of addressing the masses is going to get much better because of all the practice and the effort that you're going to put towards it. And slowly it becomes just a habit for you, and not something that you have to use mental energy and physical energy to present yourself. So the key is to make things habitual, to get to a point where you don't even feel like you are putting any effort to do what you do, to get to a point where you're so comfortable in your domain that everything is automatic and you don't have to think about it twice before doing it. And that's the place that most people aspire to be. That's the place that most experts are at. And people judge themselves looking at those experts, not understanding that over time, because they've stuck with something, they're now at a point where they're not exerting any mental, physical energy towards it, but they're just doing it because that's who they have become and that's what they do because of repetition of task so many times that it becomes automatic and it's no more manual driven vehicle. So you as a starter need to be aware of all of these dynamics and all of these situations that prevent people from pursuing their goals, from pursuing their skills, etc. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is that you have to start. The second most important thing is that you have to be consistent. And the last important thing is that you have to put in an effort. But I tell you that showing up is enough. As long as you keep showing up, the effort comes secondary to you showing up. Because you never know how a day is going to go and how you're going to feel performing that task. Maybe that day that you do show up is going to be a day when you're feeling it and you end up making big gains. Or it might be a day where you're not feeling it, but still you can make a slight improvement just by the fact that you put in some effort towards it and you showed intention. So you even see it with people who want to start a diet, is that they're like, I'm going to go on to keto, I'm going to go on to paleo. They do their research. Then it's like, I'm going to start next week, which is the wrong type of attitude to have and the wrong type of mentality to have. You should try to develop a mentality that is a bit impulsive when it comes towards things that you want to start. You should push yourself to start as soon as it appears in your mind. Once you have that thought that this is what I want to do and this is what I'm trying to achieve, then at that point you should just start right there and then where you stand. Because at the end of the day, you never know when your time is going to come up. You never know when you're going to be visited by the Grim Reaper. So, the Grim Reaper doesn't care about your delayed plans and that you're going to start your diet next week. He's going to come for you that day. So, you might as well leave knowing that you started something and that that's the person that you actually were at that point. Because for you to call yourself something, it's because you do it every single day. So if you want to call yourself a motivational speaker, it's because you do motivational speaking every day. If you want to call yourself a musician, it's because you write and you make music every single day. Every day that you wake up and you produce some content, that's you establishing that imprint that this is what I do and this is who I am. And every day that you do not do it, you're not it. So for myself, when I look at my trading, every day that I trade, I am a day trader, and every day that I do not trade or I miss trading, I'm just big old me. I'm just a human being. I don't put that label on me. So I only put that label on me when I actually spend time performing the task. If I'm not performing the task, then I'm not that person. I'm only I'm only going to label myself according to the amount of effort that I've put in on that day and not the amount of effort I've put in over time. So if I put in the effort to trade today and to perform the task of going onto the charts, waiting for opportunities, etc., then I will consider myself a day trader. But if you ask me tomorrow and you see me lying on the beach, I will tell you I do day trade, but I am not a day trader because I'm not day trading today. Today, I am just relaxing on the beach and I'm enjoying my time. So you should have that mindset that every day that you're not performing the task that you say that you want to become an expert in, don't call yourself that. That is not your profession. That is not who you are at that time. You should do it on a time basis where as you're performing the task, that's when you can start telling people, okay, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I can show you this or that. But if you're not doing it at that time, that's not you. You leave that identity behind and you carry your personal identity, which should have character and dignity and integrity as well. But when you leave your personal identity behind to go into your work identity, then now you're a gym expert, now you're a footballer, now you're a basketball player, now you're a doctor. But outside of the office, I'm just old me. So you should have that mindset. Because once you do that, you understand that for you to keep carrying yourself and calling yourself set label, you have to actually perform the task. And if you're not performing the task, then you cannot carry the honor of being presented as such to the people. So, those are a few tips that I'll give you when it comes to starting something is that number one, start now. Start as soon as it hits you in your head, even if you can just do it for 5 to 10 minutes. You've done more than most people because most people, as I told you, are going to procrastinate and they're going to wait till next week to start. So start now. Understand that you can't be an expert from the start. Understand that you cannot be the best straight off the rip, that you have to take time to actually learn and to acquire the skill and the knowledge that comes with being an expert and being the best in your field. And then you also have to understand that as time goes on, you just have to continue to exert the effort and the energy and show up every single time and let it become habitual. Once it becomes habitual, it's going to become much easier and it's going to be less of a draining task that requires your mental energy and physical effort. So, those are a few ways that I would go about learning something in this current moment. Do not wait. Do not wait. Start now. Perform. TopCat Podcast.